My name is Nathan Gassman.
My name is Katie Musselman.
And my name is Jade Hall. Today on the School Analysis segment of EDUC 1101, we will be evaluating Minnesota Virtual Academy, also known as MNVA, based in Houston, Minnesota with a student body of 6,000.
And now, back to you, Nathan, for evaluation criteria and sponsors.
Thanks, Katie. The three criteria that we will be analyzing MNVA on are collaboration, equity, and tracking. This segment was made possible by Pasi Sahlberg, who wrote Finished Lessons, Julia Williams, who wrote Jewels on Schools, and David Berliner and Jean Glass, who wrote 50 Myths and Lies That Threaten America's Public Schools. Now to Katie, who will cover equity.
Thank you, Nathan. I'm here with Pasi Sahlberg for his definition of equity. So, Pasi, may I call you that?
Of course. It means more than just opening access to an equal education for all. Equity in education is a principle that aims to guaranteeing high quality education for all in different places and circumstances, which on page 45 of my book, Finished Lessons, 2010.
Thank you, Pasi. Now to Jade in the field.
Thank you, Katie. I'm here with Berliner and Glass. What are your thoughts on equity?
The results showed that resources actually do strongly predict outcomes.
Which is from our book, 50 Myths and Lies. 2015, page 173.
Okay, thank you. Now back to you, Nathan.
I am here with Julia Williams for her take on equity.
I feel schools cannot go on much longer under the illusion that they can do all that they are asked to do without more help. As said in my book, Jewels on Schools, 2008, on page 137.
Thank you, Jules. Now to Katie with our special guest from MNVA, Stacy Blair Nelson.
Thank you, Nathan. So, Stacy, I have a few questions for you about equity in MNVA's special ed department. Do you think that MNVA is spending enough money on special ed? And is it being spent in the right way?
All right, well, let me think. Do I think schools or the federal government? Because special ed is funded a lot through the federal government. And so we get the school gets the money and then the school spends it. So I guess, let's see. Well, I never think anything in education is adequately funded. Because it's my business, but also, you know, there are just so many things that I think we could do if we had more resources. We have to take the money that we have and then we have to allocate it, you know, as best we can. And if our school had more money for special education, I could have less students and then serve my students a lot better. Right now I have 21 students, and most of my students I meet with one-on-one. So if you can divide that by a day, obviously I can't even meet with all my students every day. So I have it set up, I have a schedule set up, where I meet with them periodically. Some of them I meet with every day, some I meet with twice a week or 3 times a week or whatever. But if we had more money, then I could actually meet with every student every day and keep much better tabs on them and get a better idea of what their needs are, and then have time to help them with those needs. So I don't think there's enough money in it. You know, when you look at what our society spends on sports figure,s or even a Viking stadium, if we look at that and compare it to what we spend per child on special ed, it's ridiculous.
Thank you. My second question is, does MNVA provide their special ed students with post-secondary plans?
Well, in special ed, that's a requirement that we do that starting in 9th grade. They have to have, it's called transition. And so we have to do that with all of our students. And I find those meetings with my students to be so exciting because especially in like 9th grade when there are kids who maybe haven't even thought at all about what they're going to do, or, it's just so far away that they don't, spend any time contemplating it. Those meetings where I can start to light a little candle and get them excited about what they might be able to do when they're done with high school. They're so productive, and the kids get excited, and I get excited, and it really influences how well they do their work. And I mean, not 100%, I guess, but with most students, it then also gives me something that I can keep bringing up later when they start getting down or start, so much work. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what? Remember, you're going to be a chef. So let's, get this done. And then let's talk about some cool recipes when we're done with this assignment or whatever. So I definitely think that is a very beneficial thing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all your time, Stacy. And back to you, Nathan, to evaluate.
Thanks, Katie. Considering our information, I have found that MNVA's teachers do a great job providing for their students, but they're limited on what they can improve on because of limited funding. If they could, we could recommend that they have less students per teacher so the teachers could effectively help their students. Now, to Katie, who will cover collaboration.
Thank you, Nathan. Here with Posse Solberg again. Your thoughts, Posse?
As stated on page 36 of my book, Finnish Lessons 2010, research has shown that school improvement through networking and self-regular has positively impacted the engagement level of schools and development in Finland.
Thank you, Posse. Again to the field with Jade.
Thank you, Katie. I'm here again with Berliner and Glass. What are your thoughts on collaboration?
Modern companies, including modern factories, have begun to realize the potential of collaboration and have incorporated this method of work in their daily routines, which is in our book, 50 Myths and Lies, 2014, page 963.
Yeah, thank you. Back to you, Nathan.
Thank you, Jade. I am back with Jules. How do you feel about collaboration?
School leaders today are finding more and more ways to be collaborative, to share decision-making, rather than retain an authority that becomes crippling and effective over time. As said in my book, Jules on Schools, 2008, on page 161.
Thank you, Jules. Now to Katie with more from Stacy.
Thanks, Nathan. Welcome back, Stacy. I have a question about collaboration for you. How much time do you spend as a teacher on collaboration with other teachers?
Oh, well, we have a special ed team, and we have, let's see, it depends on the day. Some days we're together for several hours collaborating on things, whether it's, at meetings where we're talking about programs that we're going to implement or whatever. And then some days there's just like 15 minutes. So I would say on an average for a week, probably around maybe 3 hours a week. So some days, a whole hour, an hour and a half maybe, and other days, 10 minutes of, So quite a bit, actually. It's quite a bit of time that we collaborate. We really, in our school anyway, we really work together to try to come up with fresh new ideas for students and trying to make modified assignments and stuff for them. So a lot of time that I spend collaborating with gen ed teachers is talking about students and what we can do to differentiate what we're giving to them so that the assignments are more appropriate for the student, or to make accommodations so that they will be able to do the assignments. So we work quite a bit with them on that kind of thing, and the more we work with them, the more comfortable they are. It's kind of like teaching them how to do it, and the more we do that, the more comfortable they are coming up with things, without even asking us.
Thank you, Stacy. Now to Jade in the field with an MNVA student, Heather Hall.
Thank you. I'm in the field with Heather Hall right now at her home. Heather Hall is a MNVA student in the special ed program, and I'm here to ask her some questions about her experience. Heather, how often do you get to collaborate with other students?
Quite frequently.
So, quite often. How do you collaborate with them?
We have Class Connects.
And what are those?
Those are a program, you heard of Blackboard. We join our teacher there and we have a class together. And we can talk to other students and we can work in groups with other students, and we do a class almost every day in different subjects.
Okay. Do you get to work on any projects with other special ed students?
We did once last year, but not this year.
Do you wish that you could work more often with other students?
Yes, it's fun working with other people.
Back to you.
Thank you, Jade. Considering the information, I have found that the MNVA's teachers do a fantastic job of collaborating to improve their students' education. However, they could work on bettering collaboration of students during school hours. If I was in their position, I would make the students do more group projects together. Now, to Katie, who will be covering the aspect of tracking students. Due to an unattended coffee maker and intern slacking, our studio burned to the ground. But a good reporter never lets a good story go untold. Now to Katie, who will be covering tracking.
Thank you, Nathan. I am here with Posse Solberg for his thoughts on tracking. So, Posse, what is your experience with tracking?
After abolishing tracking in comprehensive school in the mid-1980s and making learning the expectation, the same for all students, the achievement gap between low and high achievers began to decrease, which is on page 45 of my book, Finished Lessons 2010. Live long and pero scolo.
Thank you, Posse. Now to Jade in the field.
Thank you, Katie. I'm here with Berliner and Glass. What are your thoughts on tracking?
Studies show that tracking provides little to no benefit for low-achieving students and, at best, modest academic benefits for high-achieving students.
Which is in our books, 50 Myth and Lies, 2014, page 100.
Okay, thank you. Back to you, Nathan.
I'm here with Julia Williams for her take on tracking.
We have children. They can't become product. We can't measure kid gets. We can't even agree as to what constitutes a desired result.
Thanks, Jules. Now to Katie with our special guest from MNVA.
Thank you, Nathan. Stacy, thank you again so much for your time. One last question. Do you track students at MNVA?
Well, the answer to that is no, but in special ed, there are certain classes that only special ed students can take. And so I suppose that could be tracking, because if you qualify to take those classes, then there's sort of a succession, like of certain math classes. So it's not, trigonometry, but it's more appropriate for the special ed students. And the same thing, we have the same kind of thing in English, so they're a little bit less, just that they're meeting the needs of the students. So the word tracking, usually people kind of have a negative connotation from that, but in this case with the special ed students, it's meeting their needs better than some of the other classes. So yes and no. Basically no, though. At the school, no.
Thank you, Stacy. Now, back to Nathan for the evaluation.
Thanks, Katie. Considering our information, I have found that MNVA has very little to no tracking, which is good. But they should probably remove the few only for special ed classes they have. That's all we have for tonight, and as always, I am Nathan Gassman.
I'm Katie Musselman.
And I'm Jade Hall. Good night, and thanks for watching EDUC 1101.